What is one country in the world we wouldn't expect to find cricket? Brazil? Hungary? China? Japan? I played a few seasons of cricket in Japan and I enjoyed it a lot. There's only one thing I didn't enjoy was the travel. A Sunday afternoon, evening, driving back into Tokyo could be torturous at times. But I'm not here to reminisce about the negatives. This week in Suva, now for the more geographically challenged of you, Suva is the capital city of the island nation of Fiji. Anyway, this week we've seen the Women's T20 World Cup East Asia Pacific qualifier in Suva. At the time of the taping of this video, Japan is into the semi-finals of the competition, and of course a chance of appearing in the final of this tournament. Cricket in Japan has come a long way in the last few years, with the grass pitches, practice facilities, and more grounds developed, especially for the sport. With a good mix of expats and local players organised by competent officials and volunteers, it'd be interesting to see what happens in the future. So, Ganbare Nippon. 304 for 2 in the T20 International game. Isn't that amazing? Now, when I see something like that, I would immediately think that it's Zimbabwe versus Republic of Congo or Papua New Guinea versus Indonesia. No, this is a score between two test-playing nations, England versus South Africa. 15 runs and over. You can imagine that in the first 5 overs or so, 15 runs and over is possible. But it's difficult to maintain it over the full innings, but England did. That's amazing. Finally today, I'd like to talk about records in the game of cricket. Most of you know some cricket people love their stats. They love their records. My friend and I regularly give each other quiz questions about cricket stats and records, and it's quite interesting trying to come up with the answers sometimes. I got caught out this week with a question about wicket keepers and run scoring. Actually, I'll give you the question and you think about how you would answer. So the question. Since the year 2000, name the 3 wicket keepers who've scored the most runs in Test series. Me, I said Adam Gilchrist. Twice. That was not even close. Now let me give you the answer. The answer was Andy Flower. He scored 540 runs versus India in 2000-2001. Brad Haddin scored 493 runs in the Ashes in 2013-2014. And Rishabh Pant scored 479 versus England this year in 2025. So I was nowhere close. Sorry, Gilly. But I'd like to mention briefly about the T20 International bowling records. And what I couldn't understand, or I found amazing, was Indian players are nowhere to be seen in the top of the top wicket takers. In fact, you have to go down the list to number 25 in the list to find an Indian name. A person who plays for India, Arshdeep Singh. You think with all the T20 cricket they play, they'd be a lot higher. But no, India is way down on that list. Amazing, eh? We'll see you next week.